You're listening to the Tao of Indifference, sex, dating, and relationship advice for an indifferent world. For more advice and tips, check out taoofindifference.com or follow us on Twitter at indifferent_D.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Tao of Indifference. I am your host, Demetrius. I am joined by my co-host,
Delaney.
Hey. You never get to say your name. Now you get to.
Yes.
Finally. Okay, today's topic is... Wait, first, Delaney, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Can't complain, you know? I'm just enjoying sweet sounds.
Oh, well, ditto.
Today's topic is office romance. But first, if you didn't hear it, I was recently featured in an NPR All Things Considered Weekend Edition, and the topic was office romance, hence the topic of this podcast. It was posted on Valentine's Day. So if you haven't heard it, please just search Demetrius Figueroa. If you Google Demetrius Figueroa dating, it's like the first thing that pops up. It's the NPR story. It's about 3 minutes long. You can just read the text. And I'll tell you the full story at the end of this podcast. First, we're going to answer some questions from the Dating Advice subreddit. Dating Advice subreddit, we love you very much. Huge props for being really bad at dating, all of you guys.
Yeah.
First question is, looking for advice on lunch with a coworker. Oh, look at that. The topic. From user Demaroth. Okay, alright. That's a facial cleaner, probably. I felt that I hit it off well with a coworker, and I asked her out to lunch. She accepted, and we're meeting up this week. I don't know her at all. We work in different departments and buildings, so I'm treating this purely as a get-to-know-you lunch, with hopes. Assuming all goes well at lunch, what's the best way to ask her out on a follow-up proper date? I don't want to be ambiguous and get caught in an, oh, I thought we were just hanging out as friends situation. I'm also fairly shy and don't have much/any experience in dating. Okay, I think you're doing everything. I'm going to get into it later, but you're doing everything right when it comes to trying to date a coworker. She doesn't work in your department. Awesome. You're taking her out for lunch. Casual, first thing to sort of gauge the water. Yeah, perfect. What you want to do to figure out if she'd be interested in a date is the best way you can, without coming off as trying to hit on her, is figuring out if she's single.
Yeah.
If you don't know it already, figure out if she's single. That's the best way to figure out if she might be interested. One, if she's not single, enjoy your lunch. If she is single, great. She at least knows that you're interested enough to ask her if she's single. She might not immediately realize that you have romantic interest, but it's good to know. Second, what you do is just, after that, if you feel like there's maybe a spark, ask her out for a drink after work. It's really hard that you're interested in someone romantically without coming off really aggressively, especially in a work situation. So you might have to gauge her interest once you go out for drinks. But you can't, in the beginning, say, I'm interested in dating you without getting her out for that drink. What would you do?
I would do something similar. I think during the lunch, I would try to figure out if she's single. Also talk about work, so it's not just... Like, right. I don't want to just completely be like, hey, I asked you out for a work lunch, but now I'm just going to talk about dating the whole time. So, yeah. Make sure it's a balance. Sure. And then try to get some more personal information out of her. If I can get more information out of her, then maybe that will help with the follow-up date questions. Like, then you'll know what to say based on what she says. The questions you ask, like, oh, so what do you do when you're not working? Oh, I like bowling. Cool, do you want to go bowling? Or, like,
I like it.
Yeah, just whatever she says, ask her, does she want to do that with you? Like, something like that. Like, if you ask her what she likes, then ask her if she wants to do that with you.
Great. I like it.
Yeah.
Alright, on to the next one. From user Like Me or Not 1. Question is, does my coworker like me, or is she just being nice? She used to text me occasionally late at night when she was at the bars with her boyfriend to talk about random things. She went out of her way and hung out with me on my birthday and used to talk to me all the time at work. She also will call me every other week and ask me what I'm doing. However, there are also some reasons why I don't think she likes me. I'm assuming she's single now.
Yeah.
She invited me over to her house and specifically told me I couldn't sit on her bed with her. Also, when we hung out a few times, she tried to invite a couple of coworkers to join us. She also will either text me 5 to 6 hours after I text her, or the conversation will just end with one of my texts. I was debating on whether I should ask her to see a movie with me when she gets back from a trip, but I don't want to make it awkward at work. Don't know if it helps at all, but we've also talked about where we've had sex, what kind of places we've had it at, things like that. Is she just being nice? No. Definitely not. She's flirting.
Yeah.
She's flirting, or she at least has some interest in you. Maybe not flirting is not the best word because it seems more informational. So it's not just being nice. It seems like she likes you a bit, but you might need to be a little bit more assertive. The not texting response thing, it might just be she's hanging out with other people, or she's just not a big texter. It seems like she calls you. Why don't you try calling her? Call her up, ask her out, and just say, hey, just make it clear that this is just a hangout. It's a thin line because you want to make it so that she's aware that you're interested in her romantically, but also that it's like not super serious. Yeah. So my go-to move would be, hey, when you get back, or hey, now that you're back in the city or wherever you live, do you want to go do this thing with me? Just us. Yeah. So if she gets there and she's not completely into you, you can just say, oh, I just want to spend some time alone with you to just like catch up about your trip. Yeah. If she is interested, great, you're alone, you don't have the coworkers, all that stuff distracting you. The weird sitting on the bed thing was probably a thing. I've had that happen, and it hasn't happened in a while, and I was very young when it happened. But it was a girl who was attracted to me who didn't want to have sex with me. Yeah. And she was like, weird about that. Yeah. But that's what it was for me. I don't know if it's the same for you, but if someone's asking me about where I've had sex and then doesn't want me to sit in their bed, I would just assume that's what it was. Yeah. What do you think?
I think, yeah, if she's asked me about where I've had sex, then I think she's definitely interested sexually. She just may not have wanted it at that moment, and she felt like she would have given in had we both been on the bed.
Yeah. It might just be that, based on his time, we don't know how long they've known each other, but maybe she was in her rebound phase and she didn't want to just hook up with him. Yeah. Yeah. Could be. All right. I think she likes you, like me or not. So, next question is from Yokari. And here's the question. I, a 19-year-old female, thank God I was tired of answering these dudes' questions. Yeah. Dudes. Yeah. I don't know what my coworker wants with me, what I want with him, or if things are going to go any further. But I'm starting to like him a lot. Not sure where to go from here. From a 19-year-old female about a 21-year-old male. Alright. I recently started a casual physical relationship with a coworker, but I'm worried that I'm getting more into him than he is into me. I want to get to know him better and take things further, but I also don't want a committed relationship because I just got out of one. Not sure where to take things or if/how I should talk to him about it. That's step one. Figure out what you want. Yeah. Stop with this, I don't know. No, the problem is that you don't know what you want, so you don't know what to ask for. Figure out what you want. That's it. Figure out what you want. Do you actually want a relationship? Yes, no, figure it out. Because the first thing you say is, I don't want a relationship. But then you say, I don't know what I want, where I want things to go. Figure out what you actually want. If you don't want to be in a relationship, but you want to be in a if you want to just be in a committed, monogamous, casual hookup, fine. It's not a binary. You don't have to be either hooking up or in a relationship. There's a lot in between that. Figure out what you want, then ask him what he wants. If they align, good. If they don't, figure out if you can deal with it and how long you can deal with it. That's it. Figure out what you want, figure out what he wants. Yeah, you answered your own question by asking so many questions. So I wish you the best of luck. And just keep in mind that he might not want what you want, and don't get hung up on it too much because you're the one that initiated. Well, you're not the one that initiated it, but you're the one that's engaging in a casual relationship. So remember, he could just want that, and you could want something more, or vice versa. He might want more. So, anything to add to that?
No, agreed.
Agreed. So, office romances. And more importantly, which all these guys asked, really, if you decide to ask out a coworker, How do I do it? How do you ask out a coworker? So I'm going to go through some tips, and then I'll tell you my dating story.
Okay.
And I want yours. My office coworker dating story. My office romance. Excuse me. So, number one, figure out if it's worth it. And when I mean that, I don't mean like, oh, how great would it be to have sex? I mean, oh, if I had sex with them and then we broke up, how bad would my life be? If it's going to represent a conflict of interest, don't do it. If this is someone who works under you, in this case, or someone you need to do your job, if you're, say, a data person and they're a, I don't know, graphics person and you guys make, God, what do you call those things? Infographics. If you create infographics and the two of you have to work closely together, wouldn't it suck if you guys had to break up? Yes, it would. Is it worth it? You need to figure that out for yourself. Yeah. And if nothing else, it's really simple to figure out. If this is the easiest thing to do, which I really love, the question number one, they're not in the same department. Yeah. They're not even in the same building. So they work at, like, I could date inside my company because my company has, like, millions of employees, and I could just date someone who works a completely different area. But if you work in, say, a GameStop, maybe you don't date your coworker. Yeah. I knew a girl who dated two guys who worked at the same GameStop.
And she worked at
No, she didn't work at the GameStop, but I'm just like, that's also bad. Like, don't date someone, co-worker. But that's a whole nother story. Number two, you need to approach everything delicately. What I mean by that is, again, number one was like on point. You read all my advice clearly. You need to ask them out in a way that isn't like, hey, let's go hook up, because this is a coworker and sexual harassment's a real thing. You should ask them out to something casual and see if they're interested in you, and avoid applying pressure to them. Like, hey, when are we going to go out on a date? Like, that sounds cute, but it's not. It's not cute. It's sexual harassment. Yeah. So approach everything very delicately. Even if they have shown sign that they're interested in you, you don't want to blow up their spot at work. Number three, if you are rejected, please take it gracefully. Nothing is worse than having someone who you've rejected act like a complete bitch. And then you have to work with them? Like, that would be the worst. If I can think of all the times that I've rejected someone and they were terrible about it, and then I would have to see them at work, it would be terrible. I would not, I would quit. Yeah. Oh my God. Could you imagine?
That's uncomfortable.
Has that happened to you?
That I rejected someone?
That you worked with?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'll tell you that later. Don't be pushy, which goes back to approach it delicately. Don't push the subject. If they're not interested, they're going to tell you. Yeah. If they're giving you signs, but they aren't saying it word for word, pick up on those signs. Don't make them be the person that has to forcefully say, I'm not interested in going out with you. You're really bothering me. Yeah. You don't want to be in that position at work. Or anywhere. Just don't be pushy. 5. Ask them out for something casual. Again, they're all in the same boat. Mm-hmm. You want to take them out for a lunch, like question number one, Demarov. Take them out for a lunch is perfect. Second time you hang out with them is something that they want to do. I mentioned that before. Yeah. Or drinks, but, make it one-on-one, but casual. Like, hey, let's get a few drinks. Not, hey, let's go to dinner.
Or like a slice of pizza from...
Let's get a slice of pizza.
Down the block.
Yeah. Let's just talk about not work. Yeah. And finally, be discreet, because even if it's okay for you to date whoever you're dating, you don't want that to become office gossip. Nobody wants to hear gossip about themselves wherever they work. It's just infuriating. Yeah. All right. Do you have anything to add before I tell you my sexy office romance story? It's not that sexy. No. Great.
That's you covered.
All right. So let me tell you the story that I told NPR that they edited down. So this was years ago. I was dating a girl who was, she was a temp, and she didn't report to me, but she kind of did. But there wasn't really a conflict of interest because I didn't sign her time sheets or anything. I just said, hey, do this today. Yeah. So we hung out at work. We became close friends, and I thought it was friendly. She never said anything about like going out on a date. One day she asked me if I was interested in like spoken word, like hearing like storytelling. I told her, yes, I am interested in that. She said, great, there's this thing called The Moth. It's a podcast and a speaking series where people just go up and tell stories. She said, there's a Moth, they're recording it. There's a recording of The Moth happening in Soho. Would you be interested in going? And I said, yeah, let's go. And I didn't think it was a date. We go to The Moth. it's packed. We can't get in. We just go to a bar. And then eventually at the bar, she tells me, like, yeah, no, this was a date. And I was like, oh, great. That's cool. I'm attracted to you. That works too. But, you know, like I never dated anyone. I never dated a coworker before. Never even thought about it. Yeah. And never have again. We make out, we hook up, and then we're like kind of hooking up, keep it secret.
Yeah.
The entire time. And eventually we sort of like, you know, I was single. I was like fairly newly single. I just got moved into a new place. This is way back. I just moved into a new apartment. I was sort of like enjoying my singleness. And she didn't necessarily want something more serious, but she wanted to know where she stood. And I was 25. I'm like, whatever, I'm doing my own thing. And one night I go out, and it's like a Thursday, and I get like really, and I drunk texted her saying, hey, I'd love for you to come over. Alright? And she lived in like Jackson Heights, I think?
Yeah.
And I lived in Crown Heights. Now, if you're listening and you're unfamiliar with New York City, though they both have heights in their name, they are really far apart. Like really far apart. And I get home drunk at like midnight and I go to sleep. And I wake up and my phone's dead. I forgot to charge it. I'm late for work. I'm hungover. I feel like death. I get into work and, you know, my boss is like, what are you doing? I made up some excuse for being late. Yeah. And eventually I get on GChat and I start chatting her. I'm like, hey, what's up? And she was like, you didn't see your phone? And I was like, no, phone's dead. And it was like a crappy phone too. So even at work when I'm charging it, it wouldn't turn on. So it finally turns on and I get like 20 texts. Hey, where are you? I'm at your apartment. Hey, I'm in the rain. Hey. And eventually it's like, go fuck yourself.
Oh, wow.
So she came to my apartment, was banging on the door. I didn't wake up, drunk and sleeping. And she had to take a cab back home, and I'm sure it was like a $50 cab.
Wow.
Just craziness. And eventually, like she, you know, I told her what it was, and she, you know, she was like, okay, I understand, it's fucked up, etc. But, we hooked up a little bit after that, but that was sort of the end of it. You know? But it was still fine. I mean, she wasn't upset with me too much. I'm sure she was annoyed. But, eventually we just, you know, she moved on to another job. She became a teacher. And I stayed at that job for a while. But in the end, it wasn't too bad. And I sort of kept my own rules about, you know, like I stuck to my own rules. I just, you know, we eventually broke up because I was like a dumb guy.
Yeah.
But besides that, like before that, it was great, and then after that, we remained friends. So
cool.
That is my office romance story. But I don't know if you know this, but our parents met at work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
At the World Trade Center, right?
That's right. We were so New York. Our parents met at work.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of office romances. Though I've never dated anyone since. I never even flirted at work. I'm very not flirty at work. Yeah, I'm really, really hypersensitive about, like, I don't anyone to think I'm sexually harassing them at work.
Yeah.
I'm really particular about it.
Yeah, I choose my words very wisely.
I don't, oh my god, I never even talk about, like, even when I'm giving a compliment at work to a woman, it's very, I will sit and think about it for 15 minutes before I say it out loud. Yeah. So that's my office romance story. Do you have an office romance story?
It's a office romance story that was stopped, but I was very happy when it
Tell me
in the
about
future. It. So I was at work, and the manager comes in and says, "Oh, this is a new girl. She's training to be at this job." And I was like, "Okay." And they're like, "Oh yeah, so you know, sit with Delaney. He'll show you what to do." So I'm sitting with her and we're talking. And I'm just like, she's asking me, she's coming on to me. She's asking me a lot of questions. Like, oh, are you single? Yada yada yada. You're cute and all that stuff. I'm like, cool. And she just kept wanting to sit next to me. So when I go on break, she's on break as well. And we're talking and flirting, and there's a lot of flirting. And we planned to go on a date, and it didn't happen. And I didn't know why. But then, and I was like, okay. I was like, all right, cool, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, when I'm like leaving work one day, I see that she's like walking down the street pregnant. And I was like, good thing I didn't date you. I was like,
oh man.
Yeah. But that was
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, and she recognized me. She's like, hey, and I'm like, and I guess because she was pregnant, so she gained weight in areas that would make her unrecognizable.
Oh.
Like, her face was a little
She
bigger.
looked different.
Yeah, she looked different, so I was like,
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, not that there's wrong with having kids, but no, wow.
yeah.
Maybe the date that she missed with you is when she conceived.
Yeah. So,
Could be. Who knows? All right, I think that's it. Do you have anything? You don't have anything else to add, right?
no.
Would you date a coworker if you were single?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, me too. I think
Yeah.
so. But it would have to not even be anywhere related to any of the work I did.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually going to a wedding in May where the couple met at work, and they did all those 6 things. Like a lot of people didn't know they were dating until they got engaged,
No.
and they were very discreet about it. They were living together. People didn't know about it. Yeah, and they didn't work in the same departments. They were like, he was a finance guy, she was a data person for like data or like providers.
Okay.
It was very cool, and they were also co-workers of mine. And yeah, no, so it'll be really interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I think that's it. Delaney, do you want to say goodbye to everyone?
Have a good evening. Well, I don't. Whatever time you're listening, whatever time of day you're listening to.
Buenos dias. Buenos dias, buenos noches. All right. Good luck out there, everyone. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Tao of Indifference podcast. If you liked the advice and want more sex, dating and relationship tips, please subscribe to the Tao of Indifference on iTunes or Stitcher. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at indifferent_D and check out the blog at taoofindifference.com for more sex, dating and relationship advice.